Ahoy everybody, Frankie Day here for Frankie Day Models. Okay fellas, for this Chipper Up Tuesday evening, I have for you video number 4 for my Seaplane group build. The Amodel JRM-1 Mars flag boat. The Marshall Mars. Carolina Mars, more or less. Okay, lots been going on, guys, since the last video I posted. I was doing an airbrush session, start to work on the Mars, and my compressor took a dump on me. I go, oh. So I disposed of it, and that was a PSI compressor. I bought that at a hobby shop. That thing ran me almost $200. So I said, I'm not going to buy no more PSI compressors. I had that thing for about 1 or 2 years, and they're not known to go out that quick or anything like that. So I had a buddy of mine, and I even seen on television, not television, but on computer, about Harbor Freight stuff. So I don't know, they got good cheap stuff there, but that's that for waste of waste. Second thought, I have a Mighty Mite, I got a demo tool, I got a lathe, I got a few other power tools I bought 9-10 years ago, and it's still going strong. I'm going to go ahead and give them a go. So I went down to Harbor Freight, got me a new air compressor. Goes up to 58 PSI. This thing is different. This trap right here, this air pressure regulator right here, is different. The one I seen that my friend, a buddy of mine has, he's a fellow modeler, and his compressor is different. He can control this PSI from the top, because this compressor is over here. It's wired in. That goes up to 58 PSI. It shuts off. Then when you start using the airbrush, it'll start kicking in, and it'll shut off again. But that's too much. 58 PSI is way too much pressure. You blow your model out of your hands before you get your paint on it. But you got to get that thing down to 10 to 15 PSI, wherever your best PSI rating you use. To adjust it on these newer models, it's over here. It's like a thumb screw right here, and you got to twist it clockwise, loosen it up. That'll bring down your PSI. Then you can control your pressure. But by doing that, your compressor will not automatically shut off on 58 PSI, is because it hasn't been satisfied yet, because the little bit of air leakage, because you're controlling your pressure, because the smallness of this compressor. So that's how you control your air pressure over here, fellas. Right here. Just turn this thing. And that gauge at the top here will tell you exactly how much PSI you need, and you're under control. Now, I was very astounded by this deal. I paid less than $100 this thing. I think I paid about $93. 93. Now, the killer dealer and the kicker of buying this thing, a cheap airbrush kit came with it. Now I got airbrushes. I got Awadas, I got PSIs, I got Badger airbrushes, darn good high quality airbrushes. This airbrush probably retails maybe, I don't know, 20-30 bucks. I'd say about 20 bucks. But this thing here came with the compressor, so I gave it a go. I set my PSI down to 15 PSI. I airbrushed this Martin Mars using this airbrush. The results are, as you see behind me on the construction stills, and also live on the model, it does a fabulous job. It's like playing an instrument. The magic of an airbrush is in your hands. The tone's in your hands. And by setting down that PSI, it really it worked just as good as my PSI. And it's a double action siphon fed airbrush. It's good. But, you know, it's not bad, guys. You know, it's not something to kick your heels about and think you got the best thing in the world. It's just, good cheap stuff. And I needed a compressor, so what the heck, you know, it's all the compressors that they had this airbrush kit included. So what the heck, less than $100, I got a good airbrush and a good compressor, is very dependable. And these Harbor Freight Central pneumatic compressors, these things, they last for a long time. You see, Harbor Freight's got some good cheap tools. A lot of good stuff there. And what's really wonderful about it, they're almost like snap-on tools. You get warranties on there too, if something should break, you know. It's, oh hell, we'll take care, give you another one. And that'll last you another 10, 15 more years. What the hell, you know, you go to the store and buy the top line stuff, that stuff breaks on you. And you get the same thing, but you're paying more money. But that's not the money part, it's just the idea that he's dependable. And I heard these little jobs do a good job, so I got me a new compressor and a new airbrush. I'm a happy camper. Okay, I've been farting around with Captain Jack Sparrow's Black Pearl. With that airbrush, I went ahead and did some airbrushing on my Black Pearl pirate ship, Pirates of the Caribbean. And I know pirate ships are all godly looking, but that's Hollywood. That's Hollywood. Being a sailor for 30 years, I know a lot about pirate ships. Pirates have a very keen sense of not getting caught. Now, if you had a black ship out in the water as a pirate ship, you stick out like a sore thumb. The foe will go out there and sink you. Pirate ships are almost like decoy ships, like Q ships. They look like merchantmen, something like the Bounty. Harmless. You come out to it, give them a heave to, and pretty soon you're taken over by pirates. And they heave up the Jolly Roger. And their pirate ships were painted either natural or dark brown wood back in them days. Because they always were capturing them all the time. If I got a captain on a pirate ship, think he could do better than what he has now? You come over and board the ship, heave to, Shanghai some of the sailors off there and throw the rest overboard, or kill them or do something with them, and take over the ship. And they give the crew what's left of their crew the ship they used to have. So they're constantly changing ships all the time, and they weren't black. That's Hollywood. And to me, a 17th century pirate ship don't look right when it's all black. So this is going to be looking like a pirate ship. Okay, so the airbrush works very well on both these models, so I'm pretty happy with that. I might just kind of tinker with that for a while until I get tired with it, like a kid with an old toy, you know, and go back to my reliable Pache or Iwata. All right, behind me, there's construction stills of the Martin Mars, and I'll zoom in with the camera, and we'll go through it, and we'll come back and finish up the video of yours truly, and I'll lay out the format what I'm going to be doing, and what's becoming your way. So stay posted right here as I zoom in the magic camera to the construction stills, and we'll go and we'll view this together. Use that airbrush, fellas. It does a very, very remarkable job. It goes on very evenly. This is a dark sea blue. That color I said in the preview number 1, which I was going to use by Humbro, was the wrong color. The best color you use in this is either Model Master Dark Sea Blue, which is hard to find now because Model Master is going out, and they're returning with a different name, and they'll probably bring the paints back. I don't care about the name, as long as they bring back the paints. Now, I went ahead and substitute Dark Sea Blue to me XF17. I was running out of that Model Master Dark Sea Blue. I tried to get 2 bottles. 2 good bottles will give this thing good coverage. And as far as I got with the Model Master was the whole entire airplane except the undersides. And that's why I went out. I went down to the hobby shop and got me some of the Tamiya dark sea blue XF17, and I did a color check match between the Model Master Net and the Perfect. They're the same. I said, well, there's always a substitute for something. And so I finished up the model by using that, and you can't even tell what paint I used. They're both same, both the same. Okay. Almost in black, don't they? This is an ultimate flying boat, the JRM Mars. During the time of our prototype, there was a whole different fuselage, a whole different stabilizer assembly. It looked like, like I said in the beginning of the video, video 1, it almost looks like an oversized Mariner. There's a side profile view of it right there. Yeah, but that was the Marshall Mars. I had it right in the first place. The Carolina Mars is the one that blew up in that forest fire. You start going real low in the forest out there with the Canadian forest industry. They had a fire out there. And they had the Carolina Mars. They were flying too low and they banked. You got an aircraft with a 200-foot wingspan. What it did, it cut the tree, and the plane just cartwheeled and crashed. Killed everybody, guys. It killed everyone. This is probably back in 1940. This is probably 1950, 51, 52. This aircraft right here is the one that also evacuated the Korea of the American GIs. The Army infantry personnel, they medevac come back to the States from the Korean War. So these used more or less as medevac during the Korean War. Also the Philippine Mars was the same thing. And the Carolina Mars and Hawaii Mars went out to Hawaiian Islands, also Singapore and China. They flew that far out there. But the Philippine Mars and Marshall Mars helped medevac the injured, the wounded from the Korean War back in 1951. 1950. This is a big, big airplane, guys. A very, very big airplane. I flew one of these, the Hawaiian Mars. This thing is built like a ship. We get beside the fuselage in this thing, it's built like a ship. You got watertight bulkheads, you got scuttles, hatchways, everything to take you to places you can't even imagine where it could lead you to. I remember one time, my mother and I, my pregnant brother Gary, we were out of the cargo area right here. This is where you put all the cargo at right here. And they got a little door entry right here that opens up inside here, and that's when the boat comes up. And you just walk aboard and get on board. You got a 2-deck fly out here. It's almost like the C-124 Glowmaster. One deck will fold up, and you got cat blocks go through here. You got personnel that'll price it down, and you got cargo seats right there, cargo benches where people sat in. We sat in one too. Big old long cargo bench all through there. Then you had a spiral staircase, came up all the way up here to the empennage where the rudder's at. There's a little door right there. You climb up there, you bench around here. Remember, fellas, from here to there is 50 feet. That's a long ways down. So, if this thing's on the ground, you make sure you don't want to fall all the way here to the ground. That's about a 60-foot drop, maybe more than that. A long ways down. You'd be dead for certain. I remember we were reading Hershey. We had Hershey bars. We had peanut butter jelly sandwiches, milk, hot coffee, hot tea, hot chocolate. We got it as food on there for that 16-hour flight, the 18-hour flight that we had. And I started to give myself the grand terror of this airplane. So I walked around. I have some places I try to go into, but everywhere I went, you had a crew member of this airplane as if they're waiting for me. They always tell me this go down below. So one guy knew I was really inquisitive and everything, so he said, "Hey, come on, son, I'll show you around." He took my hand and walked me. And he walked through there, and up there is a little hatch goes up through here. You got two hatches, one here and one there. And believe you me, when you open this hatch, there's a catwalk goes all through here behind these engines here. This airplane is self-efficient in flight. If one of these engines had to go out because of oil problems or something like that, instead of flight engineer, he'd go through the opening of the wing root into the hatch opening. And there's a catwalk that goes all the way through here. As he, hands and knees, goes through the hatch, goes through the catwalk, there's a firewall there with an inspection panel, the access panel. It's a door. You'll open it up, and he can work on the engine in flight. And there's a 1MC system, a public address system. 1MC they call it, interior communications. And they'll call to the pilot. Engine number 1 done. We had a problem with an oil leak right there. I fixed some oil, put it back in there. We're all right. Go ahead and start her up. Let's start her up, and then come back up and report. Sit back there and watch the controls. You usually got about 2 flight engineers. One engineer will do all the mechanical stuff, and one will control the throttle, pitches, the airspeed, all the fundamentals that keep this airplane flying. They should have looked at it for a water landing. The thing's a massive airplane, fellas. This is the most ultimate flying boat that ever was. There's one aircraft that's a lot more better than the Mars, and it's a lot more, even more ultimate, is the Saunders Roe S45 Princess. They had 3 such examples the United Kingdom did. These aircraft already became a victim of their time because they came out too late. By 1950, they're being constructed, and the Martin Mars was still in service at the time, and the United States Navy was still using flying boats. And by 1953, 1954, they had all three of the princesses were completed, and one was flying. That was probably around 1954, 1955. Although the aircraft had been completed for that much of a time, but they're actually, when it comes to flying time, they were not in the air no longer than a lot more or less than a year. And they didn't actually carry passengers, they more or less for testing and for flight. It's up more bigger than the Mars by 20 feet all around in specs. And by 1956, all 3 of the princesses were just like the rest of the flying boats. Became a victim of their time, and they were sent to the boneyard for dismantling, and some collectors bought them out to save them from that. And some went to museums. Canadian Forest Industries out of Canada, out in Sprout Lake through there, they seen the magic of these flying boats. These flying boats were a victim of their time. But they too were becoming, at the end of this bandless torch, ready to make whiz blades out of, or cars, or toys. And they were saved by these great people. And they had great value for this aircraft. At 70 years old, they still fly today very well. The ultimate flying boat, the Martin 170 Mars. Mr. Big, Lynn L. Martin. There's the overview. The galley of this thing is over in here. They got a galley right there. You get these vents up on top of these wings here to vent out heat, and also from the engines also. The ventilation of the aircraft. I got to me a tape, I masked all the cockpit. I airbrushed that already, it's sitting over there drying. I forgot to put that over in here. But this thing will be ready for the final deal real soon. I'd say probably maybe by 4th of July, Saturday, final reveal for this. Another shot like that.